one of an important theme in this book is freedom, free will versus domination. Both the Golem and the Jinni have masters. And even Schlamen is trapped in a cycle of an unwinding story that you know that started a very long time ago that he didn't know was his own. So, how did that come about? Did you start writing with the idea that you wanted to discuss these concepts of free will, or did it come about because of the nature of the very creatures you were writing about?
A little of both. What I meant to write about in the beginning, and this goes back to the stories of sort of my family, my husband's family, and immigration to the U.S. was more sort of like a related question, but more of like the human framing of the question, which is sort of the pull between tradition and then tradition toward, you know, your family's expectations and sort of a feeling of obedience in that way towards and on the other hand, self-determination and you know, striking out on your own and making your own sort of decisions about your path. And what happened when the Golem and the Jinni came along was sort of the constraints that got put on them were so that in order to, you know, I sort of created those constraints so that they could live in New York and be fully formed characters, so that the Golem, you know, wasn't just a lumbering brute, and the Jinni wasn't just this free spirit who could go wherever he wanted, that they needed to be stuck here for a reason, and they needed to be finding their own way. But once those constraints came about, that seemed to be one of the most interesting things about them, and it seemed only logical and right that when they got together, this would be what they would talk about. And since they have such different and almost opposing, and I guess actually opposing viewpoints about freedom versus self-determination, that this would be the thing that they would create sparks between them, and that they would argue. And so that really was sort of fed by the characters in a way.